Back, it's your boy Jahan John Snow, and I'm back with some more boxing. I want to welcome all new viewers to the channel. Please subscribe. Y'all are not subscribed yet, tap that subscribe button for me. Turn the notification bell on for the next video. Okay, y'all, now check it out. Now, is I'm the only one feeling like they want Keith Thurman to beat Sebastian Fundoro? I really want him to beat Sebastian Fundoro. Not saying that I don't like Sebastian Fundoro, right? I like Sebastian Fundoro, but I'm an original fan, basically, of Keith Thurman. When he was doing his thing back in the days before he started slowing up and only fighting like once every 3 years. I was basically, a Keith Thurman fan, right? Before I was a Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence fan, I can recall me, getting on to Keith Thurman maybe around 2013, 14, and then that's when you start hearing more about the Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, right? Even though Terrence Crawford been around for a while too. He's been around for a long time with Top Rank. But a little worry about this fight with Keith Thurman, But like I said, I like Sebastian Fundoro too as a fighter. The boy can scrap. He got heart, and he's very hard to beat. This guy gonna be hard to beat. I thought, the first fight with Timzu, I thought Timzu was gonna give it to him, right? But that cut that Timzu had, I believe, what was it? A cut, a headbutt or something, played a big factor, on why he lost the first fight. But the second fight, Timzu, Sebastian Fundora showed off and put the pressure on the brakes, beat the brakes off Timzu. Stood on business. Like I meant what I mean. You can't beat me. He showed Timzu and everybody else it wasn't just the cut, because I was thinking like, man, because he was losing a lot of blood, the first fight. So I'm pretty sure everybody thought, that played a part of Timzu, losing that first fight. But the fight he had with Lubin, right? Erison Lubin, who's about to fight Virgil Ortiz. The fight he had with Erison Lubin, I called that fight. I did a prediction. I said that Lubin is not gonna beat Sebastian Fundoro. I was checking this guy out, his previous fights before this when I kind of like jumped on, started recognizing who Sebastian Fundoro was. I started checking his previous fights out. Then I was like, man, Lubin is not finna beat this guy. But Lubin got some heart, guts, skills, and him and Virgil Ortiz, that fight is going to be a banger. That fight is going to be a scrapper. A scrapper, I believe, into Virgil Ortiz. It's because Lubin is so tough. But I can see Virgil Ortiz, with the pressure he delivered, eventually breaking Lubin down. But we'll see. I'm going to do a prediction on that. Maybe my prediction to change because, Virgil was dealing with a guy that got skills. You know, he know how to move around and fight on the distance, all that. You know, he ain't scared to bang. So excited for that fight. Can't wait till it happen. Lubin and Virgil Ortiz. But Keith Thurman, y'all, right? Keith Thurman. I used to think like why he's not going after Sebastian Fundoro, right? Because he used to always, you know, be the commentator on the side, you know, of, you know, a few of Sebastian Fundoro fights, right? Him, both of these guys with PBC, working with PBC. So I'm like, Keith, no. Like, you know, I used to be like, you know, why he's not calling out Sebastian Fundoro, you know, especially when beat beat Tim Tszyu the first fight, right? And then the rematch he beat Tim Tszyu again. I'm like, you know, because you know, Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu was supposed to happen. So I'm like, why Keith Thurman ain't calling out Sebastian Fundoro? Like that's the next opponent he need to be going after, you know. But you know, he wasn't saying anything about Sebastian Fundoro. But he ended up taking the fight. He ended up taking this fight, right? But why did he take this fight? Why did he take this fight? He took this fight because nobody was trying to give Keith Thurman a fight. The guys he wanted to fight. Y'all know the guys he been calling out. He been calling out basically everybody. But you know, a guy like Charlo, Jamel Charlo, and you know, Terrence Crawford is busy, right? Terrence Crawford, you know, was willing to fight Keith Thurman. I believe he was gonna fight Keith Thurman, and would have gave Keith Thurman, you know, a fight. But you know, he started branching off doing other things, like got himself involved with, you know, after the Earl Spence fight, he went after the title, fought on Madrimore, ripped the WBA title up. You know, he was thinking about unifying. Then, you know, this Canelo fight came, and you know, I think that kind of stirred away Keith Thurman getting a Terrence Crawford fight. You know, Jamel Charlo don't want to fight Keith Thurman, right? But he calling out everybody. He called out y'all. If y'all don't know, he been putting up these pictures. You know, even he called out Earl Spence, his friend, putting up the lion picture, eating a shark. Then they said like he was putting up other pictures on his social media. Like he put up one, you know, about Boots Ennis, the lion eating the boot. Then they said something about the lion eating the giraffe. That was supposed to be Sebastian Fundoro. And then they said he called out, I believe, Terrence Crawford too, right? It could have been, you know, somebody else, but I think that, you know, I think that was all of the ones that he called out. But he didn't call out, you know, Keith Thurman, the guy that's asking you to, you know, come back and fight him. Which you should be looking at Keith Thurman, you know. Maybe an easy fight, you know. Keith Thurman been out so long. He only got, what, one fight this year. And before he got that fight, I think he fought this year. And before he, you know, he fought this year, he was out for like 3 years or something like that. So he don't want to give Keith Thurman a fight. None of these guys want to, you know, he can't get these guys. He can't get Boots Ennis. He can't get Terrence Crawford. He can't get Earl Spence, right? He can't get Jamel Charlo. So this is why he's taking this Sebastian Fundoro fight, because Keith Thurman need leverage, right? He need a belt because these guys won't fight him, which he noticed, without that. You know, they looking at like Keith Thurman ain't a big name. He's the name, a big name that these guys can make a pay-per-view fight with, right? But they avoiding them. They're avoiding them. I truly think Keith Thurman right now would beat Jamel Charlo. I think he'd beat Earl Spence right now. But I don't know about Terrence Crawford and Boots Ennis, right? So he got to take this fight with Sebastian Fundoro. This is the reason why I want him to win. You know, not a match that he wanted. I don't believe he really wanted it, but he know the task. He know what he got to do to put himself back in position, championship, status. He know what he got to do because these guys is not gonna fight him unless he have a title. So if he beat Sebastian Fundoro, I believe what's gonna happen is when Ennis Charlo come back, he's fighting the WBA champion, a bass guy that they just elevated, junior middleweight champion for the super title. He'll probably be fighting him. He get that title, Ennis Charlo. If Keith Thurman beat Sebastian Fundoro, then we can probably see a unification match between Keith Thurman, Ennis Charlo, So right now, this is how I'm feeling. I want Keith Thurman to beat Sebastian Fundoro. But if it go the other way, Sebastian Fundoro beat Keith Thurman, I'm fine with it. Because Sebastian Fundoro gonna give anybody in the junior middleweight division a problem when they fight him. Ennis Charlo, you can act like you want to come back. You calling all these guys out, right? Don't chicken up when the fight come your way. Don't chicken up, And I'm not, talking like I don't like Ennis Charlo because I rock with Ennis Charlo, the twins, both of them, because I'm a twin. I'm a twin, so I rock with both of them. But I like it when they just focus on being a lion. Bagging what you say up, and not just talking for publicity. So let's see what's gonna happen. Keith Thurman beat Fundoro. He become the champion. Ennis Charlo beat the new WBA champion, elevated Abbas. He get that title back. Become a champion. Let's get a unification going on. And this is why Keith Thurman is doing what he's doing. Keith Thurman get a title, championship. Who's going to avoid him? They have to come through him. Boots have to come through him. Ennis Charlo had to come through him. Virgil Ortiz got to come through him. Anybody. Right? Terrence Crawford, he come back. You got to give him a fight now.